Today is June 29th. The Pirates swept the Mets a total score of 30-4. Woo! You're listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Yins, guys. Thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. My name is Josh, and we've had some audio issues getting started here tonight, as those in the chat already know, but we do have Jake here. We just weren't able to get it set up the normal way. Jake, can you talk?
Yeah. What's up, man?
Here we go. So Jake is just on my phone. We're going to talk to him this way, because we couldn't get it figured out any other way. So, hey, we're rolling with it. We don't want Jake's thoughts being left alone here.
We kind of had it figured out there for a second, but my daggum input on my phone, I maybe do a little maintenance on it or something here.
Yeah, I wonder if there's something too with the new iPhone connections and all that stuff. You know what I mean? If there's something with that USB port that says like, no, we're not doing that, Mike.
Because I had it working there for a second, so and then I just barely bump it a little bit, and it disconnects. So I don't know.
All right, well,
it's something with my port.
That's sure. We've got a lot to talk about, and hey, I mean, Jake's traveling this weekend, so much so that we were able to go to the game on Saturday. And so, can you guys in the chat? Can you guys hear Jake good? Because that's what we need to know.
Yeah.
To make sure that you guys are getting him. And if he's super quiet, just let me know. Like I can mess with things on the fly, so that if we're going to be doing this thing for an hour and it's bad for 5 minutes, that's okay. We'll get it straightened out. So let me know, guys. Anyway, yeah, we were able to go to the game and all that stuff. It was good.
Got a little bit wet, but it's no big deal.
Yeah, got a little bit wet, no big deal. So, okay, he could be a bit louder, Seth said. I think I just boosted him a little bit. I gave a little
checkster.
Yep. Cheryl says, sounds like he's in a cave. Well,
I kind of am. I'm in my parents' basement, so.
Right, but it's just a phone call. It's literally just a phone call that I have hooked into the roadcaster here. So we're going to rock with this.
Listen, we do what we got to do once in a while.
That's right. Okay. They're saying it's better. So good. All right. Yeah. So obviously a fun weekend for the Pirates, 30 runs in 3 games. That hasn't happened. That hasn't happened in a long time, Jake. And matter of fact, Alex Stump, I was just reading this earlier. He has an article out there released tonight that has just a ton of really cool information out there. So much so that the Pirates scored at least 9 runs in each game, first time since 1999. I'm going to leave some of the details out so that you guys have motivation to go out and read what Alex wrote on pirates.com. But we'll give years here and all that stuff. They won each game by at least 7 runs. Haven't done that since 1935 against the Phillies. I mean, this is crazy, right? This isn't something you would expect a team to do. It's wild.
Donnie ball, man.
Donnie ball. And it also, they said 21 one-run games under Don Kelly, the manager, already 44 games, and 21 of them have been a single one-run game, not a 1-0 game, but you know what I mean?
Right.
A one-run game. And then to do something like this is just nuts.
Yeah.
This team is not built this way. Although I will say, like we talked about this Saturday when we were at the game, a lot of singles still. We had one double Saturday. In 9 runs, we had 1 extra base hit.
Yeah, that was the wild part. We were like, we just scored 9 runs and didn't hit a home run.
Didn't hit a home run, and still only only one run. What's up? Chapel B Honey in the chat. That is Jeff. What's up, Jeff? Yeah, so just a wild weekend altogether. And the Mets at that, who were just a half a game in first place after beating they struggled coming in. And is that a table full of sweets? So it's a table full of baseball cards, but there is a bag of cough drops there. But most of that is baseball cards. Sorry, I get distracted by the chat sometimes. Rob says those 80s style pullover jerseys the Mets have are nice, at least. Dude, the Mets have some pretty good uniform matches, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and interesting enough, I never put two and two together why they're blue and orange.
Yeah.
Learned that this weekend. They're paying homage to the Brooklyn Dodgers and the New York Giants. So yeah, I just never I never even thought about it. I never wondered why they were used. It was just something I just come across.
Yeah, I like their City Connects too, but we also saw
City
some
Connects are nice.
But they also we also saw a few people with their old, I don't know if they still wear them. I don't think so. But their old black jerseys with the blue and orange. Those are sharp too.
I like those.
Unfortunately, cool jerseys don't score you any runs. and they're struggling. Jake, they won the last two games against the Braves, but before that, they had lost 7 straight, and I think 11 of their last 13 they had lost, something like that, or 11 of the last 14, something like that. It was crazy. And so coming into this, you kind of thought after seeing the last 2 games against the Braves that maybe they were going to turn a corner, and it was more struggles for the Mets in this series. But we don't care, right?
I don't feel bad.
I don't feel bad that the Mets are now in second place. But Mitch Keller gets a win. You got to love that.
First one since March, right?
It's his first ones, his first win since March, his very first start of the season. But also the Pirates just haven't been winning a lot of runs with him on the mound. Oddly enough, he doesn't get a quality start in this one, even though he and Paul Skeens are the league leaders in quality starts this season.
Yeah.
But you go in Friday night with the whole thing. There was some more extra base hits Friday night in the win. Canario 2 doubles, Reynolds a double and a homer, and Key Brian Hayes had the double off the wall. And it was an offensive outburst. Mitch Keller doesn't get through the 6th inning, but still only gives up 1 run. And then Isaac Mattson continues to show up an inning and a third. Genesis Cabrera gets his first action as a Pirates pitcher, and he does well. And you know what I mean? It's just, it was a complete game. They did everything you'd want to do. And then, go in Saturday. I'm losing my notes here already. Go in Saturday. You had the rain delay. Bailey Falter started the game. And Jake, I said this right when we were there. When we were standing there, I said, Bailey Falter's done. They're going to be in this rain delay for a minute, and he's done. He's not coming back in. And
yeah, I think there's a limit there. I really do. And I think if they were saying, hey, this rain's going to be passed in about 15 minutes, and you can get everybody back out on the field in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I think you're okay. Anything over 30 minutes, your starter's done.
And that's what we saw. Ashcraft came in, did a fantastic job out of the pen, pitched really well. The Mets, on the other hand, decided that Paul Blackburn could come back out after an hour and a half delay. And that is your proof right there that you just can't do that. It's too long of a seat. I don't care what you're doing downstairs. I don't care, no matter what you try to do, it's too long of a break to try to bounce back from that. He doesn't even record an out before he gives up 3 runs, and then he's pulled out of the game. And then the next three relievers don't even give up a run. This game was actually, despite the weekend and the 30-4 and the whole 9 yards, like this game was actually a tight game. It was 3-1 for a while. The Mets got a run back off of Ashcraft after a few innings. Santana has to get out of the jam. He throws another inning, and then Caleb Ferguson's in, and he's, clutching up. And it just felt like this game was a really good game until the 8th inning.
Yeah.
The Pirates put up a 6 spot.
I actually found it pretty funny. We're sitting in, we got the standing room only tickets, right? And then they're like, the usher gives us these seats way down. They were great seats. And we're sitting in front of some Mets fans, and the lady not paying a whole lot of attention. And she's like, well, what's the score? And he's like, it's 3-2. She says, so it's a boring game? No, this has been a great game. Like, it's been so good.
I did hear a Mets fan behind us say, like, oh my gosh, it's 4-3 already. And I would assume husband said, well, no, that's the hits. And then later, same person, it's 10-9. This game is crazy. That's the hits, he said. It's 3-2. That was funny. But no, I mean, just whatever you want to see. The singles, the first inning or the second inning for the Pirates, 6 straight singles gives you 3 runs. That doesn't happen, Jake.
Right.
Not only does 6 straight singles not happen, but it's not that's something that's not sustainable moving forward. Like, oh yeah, well, this is our way of scoring. That's not going to work. You're not going to be able to score runs like that, which is another thing. Like, they got away with it maybe because a guy came out after an hour and a half rain delay and wasn't good.
Yeah.
And when you're not able to do damage, I mean, they won the game 9-2. I'm not complaining about the offense, but like, this is not a recipe to go out and score, a lot of runs. Now, it's just weird. Like, the 6 runs in the 8th were a little bit different. There were some walks thrown in there, and you know what I'm saying? Like, they were given some bases and things like that. And I think that played a big part in the, the Reynolds double, but everything else, you know what I mean? Yeah. That makes you able to score 6 runs there. But,
Cruz had a stolen base there somewhere too, didn't he?
Yeah, but that was early.
That was in the early one?
Yeah, that was early. But then, that was still off Blackbird. Like, remember, he got the hit and then he stole, and then they got the run right away, but then they just kept doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, really good. They were 6 for 12 with runners in scoring position, which also, like, we look at that number all the time. We look at they were 0 for 8. Oh, they were 1 for 9. Oh, you know what I mean? We're complaining about it all the time. 6 for 12 is not the expectation. Like, that's really good. And so
Key had 3 of them, didn't he?
Key had 2 of them, and he's a big part of this weekend.
One was a laser. That's right.
His first 5 hits of this weekend series were all with runners in scoring position. His last 2 hits on Sunday were with nobody on base, or maybe once with a guy on first and one with nobody on, something like that. But either way, every other hit he had, his first 5 hits he had in this series were with runners in scoring position. And I think that every other at bat, there was not runners in scoring position, and he didn't get hits. And so, like, it's kind of one of those things where, like, if Ke'Bryan Hayes could get up with more times with guys on, then he's gonna hit. Like, that's what he does.
Yeah, he had the one that I'm thinking of, because that's why I thought he had 3 hits with runners in scoring position.
Yeah,
he had that one that was like a laser to left field.
Yeah,
and I mean, it just carried all the way to the left field.
Yeah, and then Cruz got stuck halfway and ended up being a double play, right?
Yep.
So I'm looking this up just to see if I can catch the latest number here for Ke'Bryan Hayes with runners in scoring position, because he's batting 329 with runners in scoring position on the season. I mean, that's nuts. And if you look at, like, bases empty, 174. just a runner at first. It actually says 316, so that's actually not too bad. But I don't know if that's a runner at first and then anywhere else. But with bases empty, 174, with runners in scoring position, 329. It's usually like the opposite of that when you look at these numbers. So it's totally crazy. Yeah. But yeah, that's definitely like it's something that Hayes has been doing this year. And I don't know what you make of it. I don't know how you I don't know how you look at that and say, are we not taking our at bats seriously? Like, obviously I'm not going to put that on a player. That's right, that's not something different, but just a wild game. Bednar gets the finish because he was the guy warming up before the 8th inning. And then all of a sudden the runs, and now it's like, well, just go out there and pitch. You're already warm. Nobody else has been throwing. So Bednar throws the 9th and was really good again. Guys, as much as Bednar had struggles, 2.83 ERA right now. He's
been dominant since being back.
It's phenomenal. And he gets 2 strikeouts, and the last one, the splitter on Juan Soto, was nasty. And, we're going to talk about, we just talked about Keller on Friday, Bednar on Saturday. We'll talk about Sunday, but this conversation goes a little bit further. But it was important. I mean, like, we brought it up there, and that was something that I was going to bring up anyway. Hayes had 7 hits this weekend. Like, what a weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cruz sat out Friday. Yeah. Cruz sat out Friday, had a hit in the second inning, on Saturday. And sorry. And then you move forward to Sunday, and Cruz has a good game with 2 home runs. Hayes 3 hits. Triolo's the only guy really not getting on base in this game, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. But how about Henry Davis going 4 for 4 in this game?
Love it.
It's
he at this point, I'm just ready for him. I'm not throwing Joey Bart to the trash. I'm not doing that at all. But Henry Davis needs to be our starting catcher. He needs to start getting the ball. Let this kid play.
Yeah, there's a lot with the defense that you just really like from Henry Davis, and it's hard not to say, like, if this guy's ever going to figure it out, if we're going to avoid bust territory, which I know a lot of people are already there, but it's not right. We're not there yet. If you're going to avoid bust territory, he's got to play. We got to give him a chance to figure it out.
Yeah, for sure.
4 for 4 is a nice day. Try to get that. He's got the average back up over 200. I mean, what a crazy thing. 4 for 11 with runners in scoring position on Sunday, and 12 runs. But it goes to show you, like, what's the difference here? Well, we had some 2-run homers in this one.
Yeah.
A couple of them from Cruz with runners on, and, Reynolds and Pham also add home runs, but not with anybody on. Pham's was back-to-back with Cruz, and both of those happened with 2 outs. I mean, you got to love that.
Yeah.
And those are the early ones, right? That were the first inning home runs to just set the tone for this game. 5-0 after the first inning, 6-0 after the second. And you really set the tone right away. But they were able to put up a crooked number 4 times in this game, scoring a couple runs in the 5th, 7th, and 8th. And so you can, this team has a tendency to score all their runs in 1 inning, or like Saturday, 3 in 1, 6 in another. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, it was nice to see that. Seth Johnson says Gonzo was nice with it this weekend for sure. I mean, Nick Gonzalez is just he's just a hitter, man.
Yeah.
I just love watching this guy hit.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. I just enjoy watching his at bats. Man, he'll give you a professional at bat every time out.
Yeah.
Despite the outcome.
So he actually didn't, now that I look back at it, he didn't play today. He had the day off, but 2 hits on Saturday. And man, it was just like, it felt like for Nick Gonzalez, I was really close. I was really close to having like a big moment there. And we'll get to that in a minute in between the 2 segments, but we'll get there in a minute. But yeah, just a all around really good series. Reynolds seems to be just clicking on all cylinders right now. We hope that the 2 home runs is enough for. I'm sorry. Yep, Seth said credit. Cheryl was the first one to say Nick was great this weekend too. He said credit her. Get her out there. But yeah, that's good. Giga says that Nick's just a good. I mean, he's just a hitter, and I love that. Yeah. He's going to go wherever go with the pitch, all that stuff. He's always going to be a hitter. Anyway, hopefully Cruz can get going with the 2 home runs. He still struck out twice, but you're just going to have to live with that. And that's just part of it.
Yeah.
Worth it to say too, Burrows 4 1/3. And Majinski went 3 2/3 and they were sandwiched around Cabrera again. They give Majinski the win. If you care, I don't.
Of course,
it's like I don't. This is another reason why pitcher wins are kind of like meh, whatever. Like Burrows doesn't go 5, so he doesn't get the win. But then Cabrera comes in. The score's already 6-0, and he throws an inning. Well, 2 outs, then gets the first out in the next inning after giving up a double. And then Majinski, but he didn't give up any runs. It's not like he was ineffective. He had a strikeout and a hit. And then Majinski throws 3 2/3, so they give it to him. And it's like, sure, whatever. We're just making things up. It just doesn't matter. The last thing I want to say about the series, and forgive me if I forgot anything that was really notable, but the last thing I want to say is that play at third by IKF. Oh. The one that Key kind of a tough play. He tried to catch it on the short hop, and it was he couldn't quite get to it on the short hop. It kind of hopped out. IKF getting to that ball and tagging that runner out going to third was really an incredible play. It's like a hustle play. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Incredible.
Yeah, and that ball that we're talking about with Key missing. I mean I think you can credit some of that miss to the wet, the conditions.
Sure. Yeah.
And actually, I'm almost glad he didn't glove it because there was almost no way he was getting the out at first.
Mm.
I mean,
I don't know. Wasn't it the catcher running? Yeah. I mean, I feel like we know how Key can make that play sometimes, but
yeah, that would have been a very tough play.
Yeah, it would have been.
And IKF just being in the right play. Like that's knowing what's going on. That's being smart. Like I'm going to go back this dude up. And we saw that in another game. I forget who it was, but a pitcher goes and backs somebody up. I think it was Sonny Gray, backs up third base, and he ends up throwing Ellie De La Cruz out at home. Like that's smart baseball, knowing where to be on every play. Like IKF, man, that's a major league. That's a veteran move. And then to actually get the out is just incredible. That's icing on the cake.
Yeah. So one last question here. Canario, they walk in a run in the bottom of the 8th, and then Horwitz hits a sac fly. We get our last 2 runs to make it 12-1. Travis Jankowski's pitching. And Cheryl says, any thoughts on the Mets using a position player to pitch at the end of the game? Do you have any I'll share my thoughts on this. Do you have any thoughts on this in particular?
I don't love it because it's just we're just lobbing the ball in there most of the time. Like I don't know.
So obviously the idea is to save arms, and if the game's already out of reach, it's essentially saying, listen, the reason you lob it is because if they try to throw it hard, it's BP.
Yeah.
And so that's why they throw it hard. But it's kind of one of those things where I get it. They're just trying to save arms and not go out there and throw in a meaningless game. And I do understand it. There's a couple caveats that I have to this. The first one is I feel like it should be more like if you're going to do it, I feel like it should be more in favor of the team who's winning by a lot.
Yeah.
Should be the one that's able to use it. If you don't want to use your relief pitchers, then
you earned that right.
Yeah, you kind of earned that right to save your arms. However, I will give you a caveat, but I want to mention Cheryl says that Neil Walker said on the broadcast that there should be a 10-run rule. So the rule right now is a 6-run rule. And I think that that's not enough. In this case, it was 9 runs. And so I don't know, man. Maybe 8 runs sounds good to me. You know what I mean? Maybe if there's 8 runs, it would make a little more sense. But my big thing is that if you are in game 1 of a 3-game series with a team, or 4-game series, or 2-game series, if you're in game 1 and you're losing by 8 or 10 or even 6 in what it is right now, and you're saving bullpen arms, that's when I have a problem with it. Because the team that's hitting has earned the ability to see the rest of your relief pitchers.
Yeah.
And to make you use them. In the last game of a series, this is kind of where I give it a pass. Like, you don't want to ruin their bullpen for the next series they play because that team didn't earn that. So I do kind of get that. Like, I think it should matter if it's the last game of a series is when I'm saying, like, all right, you know what? You're basically conceding here for an inning and you can do it. Now, it's also, I think you can only do this in the 8th or the 9th, which is good. You can't do this. Like, we saw it happening in the 7th inning before.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that's my thoughts on it. Last game of a series, I'm a little bit more, okay, that's fine. Save your bullpen. I mean,
yeah, I mean, that's fine. I get it.
They used 5 relievers. I mean, you know, we had the rain delay that kind of helped with that, but they used 5 relievers on Saturday. So, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. We made them use a lot. They only used 1 on Friday. But the starter gave up 5 runs. The reliever gave up 4, and they pitched the whole game. Those 2 guys. So, but, you know, it's just one of those things where I guess that's my thoughts. I don't like it. I don't like to see a position player out there. But at the same time, I'm about saving arms in a way. But just not if it's an advantage for you. When I've gotten to your bullpen, I should be able to hit them.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Sure. All right, so let's cover a couple things here before we move on to our trade conversations. We found out at the game on Saturday, and I think a lot of people that were there found out at the same time that Dave Parker had passed away on Saturday, I guess morning/afternoon. So obviously it was pretty fresh news, and really, like, it took us back because we thought, like, how did we miss that? Well, we didn't.
Yeah.
It happened on Saturday. Dude, this one just, so flashback to what I said a little bit ago about Nick Gonzalez on Saturday. Nick Gonzalez wearing number 39. I really wanted to see him hit a home run in that game just to kind of get that number 39 connection that Dave Parker wore and to hit one out. I thought that would have been a really special moment. And I feel like baseball has the ability and the potential and the likelihood of things like that happening for some reason. Interestingly enough, Nick Gonzalez made some comments after the game about wearing number 39 and how he feels honored to wear it. But also it was funny because he said, I think it should be retired and they should make me get a new number. And so maybe at this point that is going to happen. But we were talking about it at the game, you know, Katie even said, like, why isn't that retired? What are we doing? And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like, there's not a whole lot of numbers that get retired. I don't know if it will. I don't know if they'll make that decision, but it seems like he's gotten a lot of recognition lately, more so than before. And I don't know, like, his tenure in Pittsburgh was great. He did play for other teams. He had great years in Cincinnati as well. And, you know, the guys whose numbers are retired are guys who spent, you know, most or all of their career in Pittsburgh. And they're, you know, he's now in the Hall of Fame. He's going to be, but he's knows he's now in there. He's already, you know, he's already in. He just didn't have the ceremony yet. So I think that helps a little bit too. You know, I don't know, man. It's a shame that he's not going to be there now in July, but at the same time, I'm so glad that he knew that he was in.
Yeah, I agree with that. It sucks that he won't be able to make the speech. Uh, I'm interested to see how it all plays out, who gives it, because I think he'll have somebody, like somebody will give a speech on his behalf, I'm sure.
And I wonder how
Whether it
much of
be,
it he was already working on. Maybe it's already done, and maybe somebody gets to deliver that
yeah,
exactly what he would have done.
yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, bummer for Dave Parker, and I thought that the Pirates did a really good job Saturday of honoring him, even in the rain delay, playing some clips, and they've done some things. They've had some things out since then, and really like MLB. And I saw a post from the Reds. I even saw a post from the Brewers. So I think he only played 1 year there, and it was an All-Star year. And so like around the league, it was pretty good.
Yeah,
Jim,
I saw on X, somebody, the MLB posted our score from Saturday and said it was just the boys bopping or something like that.
yes,
Like
yes, that was a great post.
it was good.
Yep, I should have wore that. I should have wore that shirt tonight. I came in hot tonight. Jim Rosati says Invisible Jake tonight. Anybody else that's in here new and wondering what's going on, we couldn't get Jake's mic working, and we ended up saying like, dude, just call me. I can hook you up, and we'll at least get you on, even though we won't have the video. So Invisible Jake
It's
tonight.
it's more enjoyable for your eyes anyway.
I used to have a little, and I don't think I have it on this new deal, but I used to have a little like Jake on the phone thing because we did this before, but I think it was with our old layout. I think all I have
Okay.
here is
This is fine.
You have the AI versions.
yeah. Rosati says best Jake's looked. So there you go. Yeah, I'm just glad that we got him on here and all that stuff. So Jake, I guess there's a couple more things here. Dennis Santana's suspension started today, reduced to 3 games from the 4 games, and Holderman was sent to a rehab assignment this weekend in Bradenton. So first step, I imagine there'll be Indy after that, and I don't know, and hopefully there also could be. There also could be an option happening here. He has options. So if we're clicking,
Use them.
and there's no reason, use them. Use those options. So, yeah. So Rosati said, glad you guys got to see some good ball this weekend. We did. Saturday was a good time. It was unbelievable, Jake. It was the same temperature before and after the storm. Felt completely different days.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was so hot before, and it was just nice and cool afterwards. It was really enjoyable. A lot of Mets fans, I'll say that. A lot of Mets fans there this weekend.
Kudos to the organ player, by the way. We'll give that shout out real quick because Let's Go Mets like got out of the fan's mouth like one time. Let's go Mets. Bam, bam, bam. The organ starts playing. I'm like, yeah, I know you were like, yeah, drown them out.
Yeah. And that was like the really big one, right? Because early in the game, they got it going. They scored their first run. They got it going. But there was one a little bit later in the game where they were starting to get a little momentum, and they started a Let's Go Mets chant. And then here comes, the music started playing, the organ started playing, like they kept drowning it out. And the thing is like, it's kind of like a Cubs chant with the Let's Go Cubs chant. Once it gets going, there's kind of like you have to listen for a second. Say, is this Bucs? Is this Mets? Is it Cubs? What are we doing here? And then if you try to like overrule it, you can't, because it just sounds like more people saying the same thing, and you have no idea what's going on. It's not like a Dodgers or Yankees chant. Like that one's easy to say, like, no, we're getting a different cadence in here.
Yeah.
But all right, Jake, let's talk about trades. All the buzz is already starting, and we've got names flying out there. And so, we said that we would wait a little while to have this discussion. And now that it's kind of heating up, we're kind of at the point now where It's worth it to have a discussion about this. And so there's several questions we could be asking throughout this process, right? First off, the potential trade candidates, right? Mitch Keller, David Bednar, IKF, Ke'Bryan Hayes is in the mix. Tommy Pham, Andrew Heaney, those are the rentals. Caleb Ferguson, and then Bailey Falter, Santana, and so on. Any prospects that you might, think are maybe possibly on the move. So I guess let me start with, who are you trading? Like, who's on your list of guys like, okay, like, I mean, we can start with IKF, Pham, and Heaney. Those guys are here. And this is the year that they're here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm all for trading all three of those guys. I think we should trade IKF, or not IKF. I think we should trade Tommy Pham yesterday,
right,
before he cools off.
Yep.
Even though I still don't think you're going to get much for him, but I'd rather have a bucket of balls than a bucket of seeds.
The thing is, Jake, is he gets traded for. Other teams acquire him. And that's the thing that gets me, is like he keeps getting acquired every deadline or every season. There's somebody saying, I want this guy. The locker room is still consistent saying, that he's a voice. And, regardless of the outside noise or whatever, if you can keep getting that, then other teams are going to say, there's a voice, there's a veteran, there's a guy that we don't have to play every day, but he can come over to this team and he can help us. The defensive numbers, the eye test, he doesn't pass, but the metrics on defense they've been very favorable for Tommy Pham this year. And so if he is starting to hit, and this is one of those key things, and we might bring up another situation like this, but the fact that he started hitting right after he said, I just got new contacts and I feel like they finally work. Well, that's going to make teams believe that, okay, now that he can see, he's going to hit.
Yeah.
So maybe there is something that you can get for him. Maybe even if he's packaged in a deal with one of these other guys. Like if you go with Pham and Heaney to a team, do you actually get something of worth? Right?
Yeah. I mean, I think of a team like maybe like the I lost it. The Tigers. They're a little younger. They could use a voice.
Yeah, but
it might be
do they have a spot?
Right. That's true.
You know what I mean? Like they've got some depth in their outfield that they move around with, and I think they're even happy with Jahmai Jones that came up in this year. So that makes it hard, but Vincent says Tommy Pham's contacts are the true MVP of the season. I don't know if I'm going that far. Maybe the true MVP of his season.
Yeah, this whole topic here is I don't love it. I don't like the trade talk because there's just, as a fan, right? I don't know. I don't like thinking about trading like Mitch Keller and David Bednar because I like those guys a lot, but I know they're two names that are probably more coveted than anyone else on our team right now.
Yep.
We obviously know how volatile David Bednar can be, like when he's going bad,
or relief pitchers, right? In general,
relief pitchers in general. But my thing with David Bednar right now is I'm on team let's keep him. I know that's not the most popular, but I know there's some other people out there that want to keep him around a little longer. And I'm team keeping because he's gone through those struggles, and dude has come back and he's right back to where he was. Like, I feel like once you go through that down spot and you come back, I feel like that's how you become one of the relievers, the rare relievers that are going to stay on track for the rest of their career until they just can't do it no more.
Rosati says extend Bednar.
I see. I mean, I'm not the only one, but I know it's not super popular.
Yeah, I think for me, with when it comes to relief pitching and knowing that like this season's all but done. I mean, it's not done, right? There's a lot of things to accomplish, but as far as playoffs, as far as getting to the postseason, I can see a path where if somebody's calling and they're offering a guy that's there, man, I think it'd be hard. I think it'd be hard not to pull the trigger on it. He's going to make Aroldis Chapman money next year. He's going to be in the 10 million. If you do extend him, Jake brought this up this weekend, and I don't want to take words out of your mouth, Jake, but when you were saying extend him, could you get a team-friendly deal if you did that?
Yeah, I mean, he wants to be here.
Yeah,
being
Cheryl
asked,
I mean, real quick, Cheryl asked what our control is on Bednar. It's next year. After next year, he's a free agent. So go ahead, Jake.
I would be more willing to trade Bednar if this was his last year. You would not get as much in return, but you're going to get something because he's a stud.
Yeah.
You're still going to get something. And then I would tell David Bednar, like, listen, hey, we want you back next year, but go try to get something this year. Help us out for next year. Or, maybe help us out in a couple years because we get we might get a prospect that's a little a ways away or something, but we want you back next year. We're going to pull the trigger on this trade, but we just want you to know we're pulling this trigger because you can go try to win something this year and then come back with us next year. And we're going to be, more equipped to make a run next year, or, someone along those lines.
And if that's this year, it's in 2 years because now you've got another, his final year of control. So I can see that. I can see where it would change that. So how about IKF? Because we've got some comments. Rob says extend IKF, trade the rest.
I'm not extending IKF. I think we're getting what we're getting out of him, and he's playing out of position. I don't like him as our shortstop. I don't think he should be playing shortstop unless it's a fill-in day or two that, our shortstop's has the day off. Let's put IKF there. I'm fine with that. Just don't think he's a starting shortstop, and I think he fits into a lot of other lineups better than ours.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm not attached to IKF. I'll say that. I like him. I have nothing against IKF. I'm just not attached.
No, yeah. For me, I'm the same way. Shortstop is not his best position. I think that we are getting some of the best that he can do. I mean, right now he's hitting 276, but it's been above 300 for a time, and I just I just don't know. Rob brings up you won't do better than IKF at short term, internally or externally. So like he's saying 2-year extension. I understand that. I understand the idea there. And I do wonder what it looks like if you don't have him, right? If you're talking about like, dude, Connor Griffin's just absolutely tearing up, right? And he's just not going to be here next year. And so what do you do if you could just bridge the gap there? But like, I'm also kind of wondering if Nick Gonzalez might be that guy. And that's why for me, if I'm just bridging a gap, could I get a run by saying like, let's trade IKF. Let's move Nick Gonzalez to shortstop. Let's give Nick York a run at second base and see what we have. If, you're either going to find out that Nick Gonzalez can't play short every day, or you're going to find out that Nick York is more a backup instead of, I mean, maybe you find that out. Maybe you don't. It's not going to be a full season, but at least you see a little bit of what you have, right? And you have at least what you see is what can I count on for 2026? Because if there's nothing out there for shortstop and you think that Nick Gonzalez is actually going to get it done, and we got to remember, Jake, like IKF is not great at short. So if Nick is not great at short, then are we just going like, oh, well, we've basically got the same guy there?
Except a better hitter.
Well, but I just mean defensively because you still have Nick Gonzalez in the lineup if he's playing second. So your replacement, the only way you'd say accept a better hitter is if Nick York is better than IKF in that scenario, right?
I got you. Yeah, that's fair.
So Sherrod says trade IKF. Tree can play short. The problem is Tree can't hit.
I'm out on Tree at short.
I do like the idea of him playing shortstop defensively, but I can't put him in the lineup. And that's the biggest thing for me.
Starter.
No,
I don't care. Him as a backup, I'm fine with. Whatever. I couldn't care less about him being a backup, but not a starter.
Yeah, and in the same vein, wouldn't Triolo be your guy to play third base if you deal Ke'Bryan Hayes? So there's the next guy. Long-term, a lot of control, long-term contract, very affordable contract for most teams in the league, a really budget-friendly player for the defense that he brings out there. For the Pirates, it doesn't feel like a budget. It feels like a major league contract. But for most teams, it doesn't even feel like, it feels like a guy that you could platoon for $7 million. You know what I mean? Where are you at on Hayes and possibly trading him? And I will say this, he just went and had his back realigned, like probably went to the chiropractor before this weekend, and he just got 7 hits. So is that another, like Tommy Pham's contacts, is that another thing like, oh, well, maybe there's something I can believe in there for another team in acquiring him?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But also for me, I'm just not really ready to deal Ke'Bryan Hayes. It's too long of a contract, too affordable of a contract, and I just don't. That runners in scoring position number is the number that gets me, and I know his slugging percentage is atrocious, and I want to upgrade everywhere else to where that bat is absorbed. That's where I'm at. I just don't care about a slug. If you're gonna bat 325, whatever it is, 329 with runners in scoring position, I don't care if they're singles. You're still knocking in 1 or 2 runs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's still productive for me. I just would like to see him over 200 without runners on. You know what I mean? Like just get that above 177 up to 220, and I'm okay.
Yeah, and right now he's hitting 246, but if you're going to hit 246, you've got to also slug. And so like that's what he's not doing. But if he is a guy who, I mean, you think about it this way. If you're a team that is going to be in the postseason every year, or should be in the postseason every year, the defensive run save numbers are out of this world. It seems fake. He puts up like PlayStation numbers, or video game numbers, I guess you could say, on defense. Like, create a player, you go out and you hit 750 home runs in your first 10 years because you're like, I'm just trying to hit bombs with my creative player. And that's what he looks like on defense as far as the metrics are, right? Because he's so far ahead of everyone else every year and has been for the past so many years that it's kind of funny. And it's like, well, no, certainly he's not that good. But like we saw him he cut off IKF on like a routine ground ball to short.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's just what he is. And it's crazy. Like he could have let that go and just let IKF throw him out. So I don't know how much that helps, but if you move
totally good.
I was gonna say, if you move the two of them together, being IKF and Key, then you're looking at like a Nick Gonzalez and Triolo at third. And then you start to question yourself with like how good this team's going to be, even though Ke'Bryan Hayes hasn't really been great. You know what I mean? And so like, it's hard to paint that picture of what it's really like, because every time I think, well, Ke'Bryan's way better than Triolo. And then it's like, well, he's actually not right now way better than Triolo. So it's just hard to imagine that being like a huge hit. And what it could do is it could give Triolo a run. We also know that Triolo is actually better at the end of the season. He always fools us at the end of every season. So you might get a little bit there, but his defense is also really good. It's not quite Key Bryan, but it's right after that.
Yeah. 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 And I can definitely see the upside of the team, wanting Key Brian Hayes. And I won't be mad. Like, I won't be frustrated if we trade Key Brian Hayes. It's just, I'm just looking at it and I'm saying I'm keeping him around.
Martin brings up
But
a
if
good
the
point
right,
in the chat where he's just concerned about the back long term. You've got this long term deal, you've got a back issue, and so like how does that play moving forward? And that's one of the reasons why if there's a team willing to give me somebody that is the problem is the only way you're getting major league talent back is if you pair some of these guys together. If you
Sure.
if you send a pitcher, like I'm just going to always go to Heaney just to go there. But if you give them Heaney and Hayes and all of a sudden they're like, all right, we've just solidified. I think about the Yankees. If we solidify third base in New York and then you can get Jazz back at second and it just makes your team that much better. And they're a team who's going to have guys in scoring position. So Key Bryan kind of works out there. He's actually going to be a better hitter because of how good he is with runners in scoring position. So,
yeah,
and you can continue saying like my dad played there too. He won a championship there. Maybe I can too. So there's some of that too. And I think the Yankees for that price would be so willing to just be like, yeah, we need defense. Our defense is bad. So maybe he just gets better too. The way he goes backside, if he could just hit that ball in that short porch in right center, my goodness, he could end up going back to like a 10 homer guy and actually slugging. These doubles that he's been hitting are probably home runs in New York.
Yeah. And you're not wrong there. Yeah, and like I said, I'm not gonna beat myself up over if they trade him. It just I don't know. He's a fit there for sure.
All right, so I guess that's the next thing, and we probably need to keep moving on to these certain things. There's guys we're not talking about, but we're going to talk about them as we go on because now we're in this season, right? The trade season.
Yeah.
What are you expecting? What are you expecting from a trade? And I'll give you some scenarios, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the chat, let me know too. What are you expecting from a trade? Is it somebody that can help us in 2025, like this season? Are we saying if we trade this guy, we got to get help now? I don't want to bring up, as Rob brings up, I'd rather give Nunez a shot over Triolo. We're not bringing up Nunez if you're in this scenario. I want a guy who's already good. I don't know how you're going to get that, but is that what you want? Is it somebody that you can say, I want a guy that can help us in 2026, like right away? And I don't know what you need from that. Like, do they have to have some MLB experience or just be right there ready to come up? And then the last scenario is, do you just go get a draft mentality? Do you get the best player available regardless of where they are on their path to the show?
That's a great question. I think I'm looking all over the board, right? Like if say we make 4 trades, however they're packaged or how many people go in each trade, whatever it happens, we make 4 trades. I want at least one of those trades to bring in somebody that's going to help me in 2026. I don't really care about this season. We're going to give some people that's in our organization looks this season. That's where I'm at. I don't think anybody you trade for. Now, granted, if one comes along and they offer it, you take it. I'm not saying that, but I'd like to get some runs on some people. If we make a few trades and get rid of some people that are maybe our starters, I'd like to see some prospects or somebody step in and get a good, nice look for the rest of the year, despite how they play. Like, let them play. Let us see what they got.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, does that change depending on who you're trading?
Yeah. That's why I'm saying nobody in particular. I'm saying if we make 4 trades, I want at least one of them to make an impact on 2026. I want at least probably 2 of them to be close enough to make an impact in 2027. And then the other one, I just don't care how far out. Give me the best guy you can possibly get, even if he's O'Neal Cruz. We traded for him. He was 16 years old from the Dodgers or something crazy like that. He was a very young kid in the Dodgers organization that we traded Tony Watson for. Somebody like that, I don't care. But out of the 4 trades, I want people that can help us in the next 2 years.
Yeah, he was a little bit older than that. I mean, the point still stands. Yeah. He certainly was not a finished product when we traded for him, but I mean, they would have signed him at 16, and then yeah, it was. I opened it up with the wrong thing, so. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. Not quite that young, but he was still a lot of development left when we acquired him. So for me, if it's Mitch Keller or even David Bednar, especially if you're packaging the two, I need a guy who has major league experience and who has had success in the major leagues. And I know what that means. That is difficult to say because it has to be recent as well. Because you could say I need a guy who's hit 20 plus homers in the show. Okay, cool. We'll send you Jack Swinsky. Well, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. I need some guy who's done it recently. And I just don't know how you're going to get that with a trade deadline trade of Mitch Keller. I don't understand what trade partner you're going with. Unless they have, this is your scenario, right? Your scenario is you have a team that needs pitching and they're getting ready to call up their prize prospect, but he doesn't have a spot on the team.
Yeah.
And so the only team I really can think of is Boston in this scenario, right? Oh, once you have Wilyer Abreu and Duran in left, and then your center fielder, whoever you've got there. I mean, they're already filling up. I'm blanking on the other name. There's Roman Anthony.
Just brought up Roman Anthony.
So he's the other one, right? Now you also still have Cedar Rafaela, who's having a good year with them right now. You know what I mean? And so you're talking about at least 4 right there, but I'm still missing somebody. There's still there's still somebody else.
I know they've been having Abreu play some center field.
Is he hurt right now?
Abreu?
I feel like he's hurt right now, but maybe not. So Abreu right, Rafaela in center, Duran. Obviously, they dealt away. I think Christian Campbell played some outfield already this year too. But I thought there was one more guy out there. I'm not seeing it. Marcelo Meyer, Roman Anthony. But you know what I mean? They're bringing up all of these guys right now.
Yeah.
And they need pitching. Now, I don't know if they're burying themselves out of it anyway, but they haven't been playing good lately. And so they're not out, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But with a team like that, with the stacked outfield and bringing up Roman Anthony, for me, I kind of want to see one of those guys who've had success, right? I mean, I would pick, obviously Duran, he's going to be a free agent earlier than that. He's a different guy, right?
Yeah.
28 years old. That's not really the guy. OG says Ref Snyder. Yeah. Ref Snyder, mid-30s, right? I love that. But Roman Anthony,
other outfielder though.
He has been playing outfield. Yeah. But that's not a guy blocking anybody, but has he been good?
Yeah.
I'm seeing, he's got a 1 more to hitting 284. Yeah, I could see that. But Cedar Rafaela right now has 9 home runs. He's hitting 250s with his, whatever, but he's 24 years old. His defense is fantastic. He's hitting 250 with an on base of 299, right? His OPS plus right now is 98. But he's got 2.7 WAR already, baseball reference WAR, and that's because the defense is so good, and he plays center and hear me out, and shortstop. So like, this is a dude that I'm like, hey, this guy is, I can just imagine him in left field. That's good. And he's a guy that Gary Morgan from Pirates Fan Forum, Locked On Pirates, he kind of brought it up first to me. And I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is the guy right now, but like, I'm just looking at OPS plus, and there's more than that, right? He's 24. He's versatile. He's got 9 home runs this year, which would be like on the top of our team, not the top, but among the top of our team. And, kind of hard to look away from. That might be a good fit. If not, Wilyer Abreu won a Gold Glove last year. And, he's a guy that the on base is going to be higher. So I like that too. He's got 14 home runs this year. So I think of that team who might be willing to part with one of those guys in a deal for a starting pitcher. That seems to make more sense, but those are proven to be effective bats already at the major league level. If I'm trading Keller, it has to be that. It just absolutely does. Now, if it's Tommy Pham, I'll take what I can get. If it's Andrew Heaney, I understand. I'll take what I can get. I'm going for best player available.
Yeah.
Keller Bednar, dude, you got to figure out a way and pair one of these guys. Pair Heaney or IKF or Hayes or somebody. I got to have major league bats. It doesn't help me if I don't. Because those bats aren't in our system. It's not like I can trade those guys and bring somebody up and be like, we're going to be okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, they're just not there. I don't know. I see, Casey, Bucko Mike brings up Casey with some good numbers. Cubs prospects have been striking of late, things like that. The problem is,
let me just throw this out there. I'm not trading with the Cubs if it's Mitch Keller or David Bednar, because I'm not competing against them for the future.
Yeah.
Like, you send IKF there, fine. You send Heaney there, fine. You send Pham there, great.
Yeah.
I just don't care about the rentals. Yeah. But I'm not sending Mitch Keller over there and then dealing with, having to hit Mitch Keller for the next 5 years.
Nope. I'm not doing that. I'm not sending him in the division, period. It's not going to happen. And to me, that's a big thing. I understand trying to make your team as good as you can and yada, yada. And I've heard Matt Shaw and Casey in the deal. And I don't know, first off, that it would even be a possibility to even happen. But also I just can't, if I'm moving these guys that are signed long-term, or David Bednar, who is, I'm going to say it again, he is now elite again. I'm going there. That's fine. But I just can't, I can't trade those guys without getting someone for either shortstop, third base, or outfield. And that's why I like, Wilyer Abreu, who has a Gold Glove, Cedar Rafaela, who's putting up fantastic defensive numbers. Our left field's a tough position to play.
Yeah.
Put him out there. And somehow you get like really good marks if you play left field, because we talked about the Corey Dickerson season. Where it was fantastic. So yeah, I think there are some guys that I'm okay parting with and saying, give me best available players. I would even say that maybe if you decided to go with like a Bailey Falter trade, best available. I know there's control with Bailey Falter, and I understand there's value there, but I don't think I can get a major league bat for Bailey Falter. And so in that case, I'd rather get a guy who is maybe 3 years away, even if that's it. I don't know. Or else you're getting like a Jack Sawinski. You know what I'm saying? Like a guy who like, hey, this guy's done well, but maybe needs a change of scenery. No. Or here's a major league hitter, but he's not done good. Like even like the guy we like a lot, even like a Heston Kjerstad. Like, man, I don't know. I don't know, man. We haven't seen it happen yet. Well, I mean, you and I, we saw the power and it was unreal. But he hasn't shown up yet and he hasn't done it at the major league level. And that to me is like, I don't know if that's the guy I'm going after right now.
Right. And he's been in the major league. So it's not like he just hasn't been here.
Right.
To prove it. Like he's had a couple shots.
Yeah. I think that's where I'm at. So, yeah, Bucko Mike
Trade
says
season's good.
I was saying he's saying that Orioles prospects overrated, Red Sox prospects are so. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even want the Red Sox prospects. I want the guys who are major leaguers. OG says if you're calling Boston for Abreu, ask for I'm not getting that one right. Garcia while you're at it. Nope, I'm not going there. I don't want to offend the guy by trying to pronounce that name. So I keep looking at it like I'm going to try it. I'm not going to do it, man. It's on the screen if you're watching YouTube. So. Yeah. It's like Jost Nixon. It doesn't. I don't know, man. I apologize if that was bad. I listen, there's a reason why Baseball Reference, why I'm constantly looking up pronunciations.
Yeah. Trade season's tricky right now. I'll that's kind of like my take on this is just it's tricky right now.
So we have OG says it's pronounced Jostinsson, where Baseball Reference actually puts the reference on the Joes and keeps it a J, but it's Jostinson is how they're saying it. Jostinson or Jostinson. Nickname the password. Love that. That's cool.
Oh, I've heard that. Okay. Yep. I've heard that one.
So anyway, that's an awesome nickname. There you go. Ethan Houlihan in the chat, putting it in there. Pronunciation. So that's the same one that Baseball Reference is using. Is the Jostinson Garcia. I definitely butchered it and I shouldn't have said it out loud before I looked it up or relied on OG and Ethan to come in and tell me how to say it. I should have waited for those guys. And now I've done it and it's on the internet forever of me saying it terribly.
I think we'll be all right. Though.
It's fine. All right. So at the end of the day, Jake, I mean, we're going to make trades, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's, here we go. Ethan says that's from the 2025 MLB player name, presentation, preferences, and pronunciations. So, and OG said Ethan would have the official one. I just Googled it. I would imagine that Baseball Reference probably gets those from the same place you are, Ethan. Ethan, I have the PDF. There's the flex. I love it. So anyway, it is trade season and this team is probably going to trade. They have to do something. I think it's at the point where like you've got to make an effort to get better. And I don't know what that looks like. We're going to continue to talk about that probably for the next few weeks. But if trading is a way that can happen, I'm here for it. And Hayes in the position, like in the position that we're talking about, like if Hayes is going to get singles and hit with runners in scoring position when there are runners in scoring position, maybe it's better to try to pivot. Is it easier to sign a third baseman in the offseason than it is to sign a shortstop? Probably.
Yeah.
There's probably someone to find. There's a way. I mean, we even have some prospects that might be available if it means, maybe off season, if it means bringing in a third baseman to replace Hayes because you gave Triolo a run and now you know what I mean? And so that's kind of a big deal. They've got to find a way to get better because this isn't it. This team I say this all the time, but like this team is playing under their level that they should be playing. And yet they really should still only be a 500 team. That's all they've built. They've got to get better. They've got to find a way to slug. They've got to find a way to hit the ball over the fence. I don't know.
It's tough saying that right after how many home runs they hit today? 5?
4 home runs today.
4.
But after having one extra base hit on Saturday.
Right.
And that's in the perfect storm. Like, you're not going to score 9 runs with one extra base hit. Probably any other day this year. That's the one time that you get that pass.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
What was one of the best moments at Saturday's game for you watching? This is my last question for you.
This is your last question for me. The best moments in Saturday's game?
Just the best moment. What was your favorite part about Saturday?
Oh, no. I feel like you're setting me up for something specific and I'm forgetting.
What about the Soto stare down of Ashcraft?
Oh, no. Go ahead with that one. I've got a different one.
Ashcraft just mows him down. I mean, it was not a competitive event at all.
I know what you're talking
Soto,
about.
the whole time back to the dugout, looks out at Ashcraft and just nods his head like, okay, I see you, rookie. I see you.
Yeah, it was almost like from where we were sitting, it's almost like he was trying to figure out who was standing on the...
What just happened?
OG says, in order to slug and hit more homers, we just need more series versus the Mets. Maybe the Mets are a trade candidate. They'll be like, we'll send you Marte. Like, come on, guys. No, my favorite might have been the Peter chant that we were doing.
Oh, yes.
We got fans that we just started yelling Peter at Pete Alonso. And we had other fans start jumping in because he kept swinging and missing and he ended up with a strikeout, and it was fantastic. And there was, it was a fun time. I don't know. That's basically it.
Yeah. Those are my 2 favorite moments right there.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that performances like Bednar put on in the 9th inning Saturday night it's just moving trade value up. And I don't know. As much as I like David Bednar and I wouldn't mind what you guys are saying, an extension of I don't know, 2 to 4 years, but I don't know, man. You sell high, and the Pirates had a lot of success selling high with Hanrahan and Melanson, because Melanson that came in, and then they sold high on Melanson, and then they sold high, then they got Grilly, who ended up working out, and it was just like there was just so many things that that chronologically was not correct. But you brought in He Who Should Not Be Named, and he was fantastic for a few years, and then they tried to move him right in the middle of that contract, and for whatever reason it fell apart with the Dodgers. And then of course we had to deal with the fallout of that. And had they just been able to move him and just continue that cycle, like, I just think that that's possible. And I don't know, man. There's part of me that feels like if you gave Santana the opportunity to do it for the rest of the year, you see what he is and what he's got. And then you have him for next year, I think is Santana has 2 more years, or is it just next year as well?
Not sure on that one.
Ethan, you're still in the chat. I'm not going to look it up, because if he is still in the chat, he can throw in Santana's availability. But you give him a chance, and then if he's able to do it, and if he's got 2 more years, like if he's got 26 and 27, then you use him in 26, and maybe there's something where you're moving him. So actually, yeah. Ethan's saying ARB 3 next year. So that would be his last year. So we're looking at the same control with him and Bednar both. So give him the closer role at least for the rest of this season. And if it's not good enough, then go out and get a closer in the offseason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or maybe you have one already on hand. I don't think so, because I think if you're trading Keller and Falter and Heaney, I think you're going to need all these guys that we have right now. Like, you might even need, I guess you still have Oviedo coming back, and you got Bubba, and you've got Ashcraft and Burrows, like these guys are going to have to pitch. Whatever Jones' timeline is, like there's plenty of starters that can cause you to do this. I mean, Hunter Barco just had another fantastic outing. He looks like he's going to start bouncing back. Like that dude's going to be here. So, yeah, there are pitchers that you can make moves. I didn't even mention Majinski. So, I don't know. You got to make this team better. You got to figure out a way to hit the ball over the fence or at least in the gap.
Yeah.
And for me, like IKF and Hayes are not those guys. And so and what do you have to work from, Jake? You've got Reynolds and Cruz in the outfield with one spot available. You've got Nick Gonzalez, Spencer Horwitz in the infield. If you keep Hayes, you've only got 2 positions right now. And catcher, you've got some catchers. You only have 2 positions. That's not enough to make this team a really good team. That's the part that makes me say, all right, then let's move Hayes. We'll take a hit on defense if we can add offense. Now you've got 3 positions. Now you can actually make an impact on your team to make them better. I don't know. There's a lot of thoughts that go through my head with this. And I don't think you need a full shakeup. I like those players. I think there's still more for Horwitz. I like what I see. Now, if I still just like what I see, but it never gets better, then yeah, I get that. So, I don't know. You got to make this team better. Is it a big shakeup? No, but it is going to be a huge impact. And I don't know. I think I'd be willing to do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't beat myself up over it. It's just got to be the right move, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got, like I said, if you and I would be packaging them probably. Like Keller with someone else gets you a major league bat.
Yeah.
If it's available. All right, Jake, let's get out of here. Listen, guys, this was a fun weekend of baseball. We probably won't continue to see all of these runs scored. However, we are going for a 3-game set against the Cardinals. And so who knows? You can pile some runs up on those guys at times. I didn't look and see who we got, but let's see who we got tomorrow, but that'll be important at least. So we've got Fetty versus Heaney tomorrow. And then listen daily. We'll talk about the other pitching matchups the rest of the days on Tuesday and Wednesday. Every Thursday in July off for the Pirates. So Cardinals, Mariners, Royals, Twins, a little American League run there before all on the road before the All-Star break. So
yeah, hopefully when the All-Star break rolls around, I'll be in the seats watching or standing somewhere watching O'Neal Cruz hit some bombs.
Yeah, that's actually a good. Oh, we're going to be talking about that. We've got time. We don't have to keep fitting it into everything. We've gone really long here. We're going to play some music. We've got time. We'll talk about that kind of stuff. But thanks again for listening, and thanks for bearing with us and our issues getting Jake in here. But this worked out. We got Jake in here, so thanks again for sticking around with us. And hey, it's what is this? 4 straight now? We have 4. Did we win the last one? No, we lost the last one.
No, we lost the last one.
All right, never mind. Sorry about that. Just scratch. Act like I didn't even talk. All right, guys. Thank you. Listen, remember, shows every day this week, guys. Tune in. Let's go Bucs.
Let's go Bucs.
Where's my...
Thanks for listening to my dad and Uncle Jake on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2Buctober. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are released. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucs.